I'm back. Rudrance for our Black and White Network. Well, I saw this and it just kind of made me sad. This is a place that I've been to more than a couple times in my life. Jazz Fest and other things over the course of the years. But we kind of knew it was headed there because of police issues and Democratic mayor leadership. Lori Lightfoot, I mean, my God, just the list goes on and on. It's Democratic radical mayors, generally speaking, funded by Soros, and I'm sure if we can't show they're funded by Soros, he's probably a Soros laying in the weeds somewhere, let's put it that way. New Orleans is officially the new murder capital of the United States. Yep, it takes over the crown from St. Louis. The Big Easy took over St. Louis for the grim distinction of U.S. murder capital in the first half of 2022. New Orleans, plagued by low police staffing levels and morale, saw 41 murders per 100,000 people in the first 6 months of the year, a 141% increase over 2019, according to an analysis by the Wall Street Journal. The murder rate is nearly 4 times that of Chicago and nearly 20 times the rate of New York City. Wow, it's just crazy as hell. Quote, the criminals are more bolder and they're more brazen. Of course they are, because nobody cares about the police down there except the police. New Orleans Police Superintendent Sean Ferguson told the newspaper, quote, they do not believe they will face any consequences for their actions. Imagine that. The Journal broke down numbers provided by major cities' chiefs associations and the city's own Metropolitan Crime Commission. In addition to homicides, shootings are up 100% over 2019. Carjackings spiked 210%, and armed robberies have risen 25%, data shows. The 2019 numbers are from the FBI's most recent uniform crime report. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. This says right here, the Rational Walk, I lived in NOLA for 3+ years in the late 2010s through the first 6 months of the pandemic and never felt unsafe. Uptown, Garden District, Central Business District, French Quarter, at any time of the day. Great city, nice people, sad to read about the decline. That's the Wall Street Journal, by the way. Last year, St. Louis was the nation's murder capital with 61 per 100,000 for a full year, according to a study by Rochester Institute of Technology. In New Orleans, on pace for 82 murders per 100,000, Louisiana City will easily eclipse St. Louis this year. In 2021, New Orleans trailed only St. Louis with a full rate of second place rate of 56 per 100,000. Although New Orleans spends $570 per resident on its police budget, second only New York City, it is nonetheless plagued by staffing problems, according to the Journal. The force is now under 1,000 officers for the first time in decades, and down by a third from just a few years ago. Here we go. New Orleans Mayor Latoya Cantrell blames a consent decree put in place in 2013 following several racially charged police incidents that allowed the Justice Department to watch over the department. She said it makes it hard for cops to do their job and difficult for the department to recruit new officers. That's funny because they did a story I saw a while back about a carjacking that took place. And the kid was put on some kind of like deferred program. And it was because the mayor, my understanding, the mayor showed up and look, the victim was there. The mayor showed up on behalf of the person that did the carjacking. I mean, essentially, and I saw the lady, she was either on Tucker or The Five or somebody like that. Essentially, the mayor was co-signing the criminal over the victim. That in itself right there is the problem. And it's a problem in a lot of these cities, along with district attorneys that suck. She said it makes it hard for cops to do their job, difficult for the department to recruit new officers. Approximately 100 officers are retiring or resigning each year, City Council President Helena Marino said in July. Quote, you cannot operate a department that's made for roughly 1,400 officers when it is less than 1,000. I saw a cop the other day said he logged in and there was like one officer on duty and like 30 calls waiting or something ridiculous. It was nuts. Captain Michael Glasser, who heads the Police Association of New Orleans, told the Daily Wire the department's aggressive Internal Affairs Bureau has falsely accused cops of wrongdoing and thus discouraged police from doing their jobs aggressively. Yeah, and I'm sure you got to look at it this way too. You start getting outside of those urban areas like New Orleans, it's going to get very pro-cop very quickly. So I'm sure a lot of these officers are like, shit, I'll go to Lake Charles, or somewhere back that way, some of those little towns. I'll go to East Texas. I'll go to up back towards Shreveport. Yeah, it's still going to be some Democrat leadership in those areas, but there's a lot of little towns out there with a lot of need for police force, and they're going to be very, very pro-cop, okay? Very pro-cop. So why in the world would a cop want to go to a hellhole like New Orleans, which is what it's become, along with St. Louis, along with Chicago, along with New York City, Seattle? We just did a story the other day on that. Why would any of these guys want to go serve there when there's so many places that actually do appreciate their police force and the cops and what they have to go through and are always looking for good cops? Hell, Florida's an entire state looking for good cops, all the time, and appreciate the cops they do have. Crazy. It's sad. Yeah, I've been there a lot. I live up in East Texas, but I've drove down there quite a few times for various events over the years, down around the French Quarter and places like that. Never had an issue ever back then with crime, feeling unsafe. One street in one direction or the other, you still didn't feel unsafe. You could park away from the French Quarter and walk in, still didn't feel unsafe. 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, still didn't feel unsafe. You couldn't pay me to go down there now. No. I wouldn't take anybody down there. I wouldn't take anybody with me. I'd be too afraid something would happen to all of us or them, loved ones. No. They can keep it. Wow. Oh, unbelievable. This is where we're headed. If we ain't careful. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out till next time.